Alright, so we're gonna start this new irrigation job. Pretty much the whole yard is gonna be either modified or redone. So right here, this first thing we're doing is this part right here is the main line to the valves. What we're gonna do is this right here has failed. So we're gonna change this out, and this is gonna be copper all the way down to here, going into the ground, and then it'll be PVC. What a lot of folks don't realize is that the white pipe shouldn't be above ground. It should always be underground. I mean, you can always wrap it, but the white pipe is not UV protected, so it shouldn't be above ground. So we're gonna correct all that. And so I'm gonna start on the copper line right now. Okay, so here's some of the parts we're gonna use for the copper. One of the things I'd like to point out is that whenever you're purchasing it, before you take it out of the store, always make sure that these parts go and fit into the pipe. You know, it's usually a little snug. I don't really like to buy them too loose. It's like kind of a little snug and it goes in. But always make sure that you fit all your parts on both ends of the pipe in here, because what happens sometimes, you can buy a part that has a little dent in it and it's not going to work, and vice versa the pipe too. So you want to make sure all your parts are fitting in the pipe, and then also to the threads, that they're going to work also. So I've already tried, like I tried this with this. This is a male adapter and female, or excuse me, this is the male adapter and this is a female, and I've already tried screwing those in, so I know that it's going to work with anything else. So that's what you want to do before you step out of the store, is make sure that the fittings are good and that there's not going to be a problem with how they fit on each part. When you're putting your fittings in, even if it's brand new, you know, you want to scratch it up a little bit with some sandpaper. We have special sandpaper for copper stuff, so you want to make sure that you sand it out a little bit, you know, just some scratches in there in all the parts. So see here, you know, you scratch it up, this, you know, so that's going to make everything better. So this is the kind of tape we use. You buy it right there where the copper pipe is. Okay, so anyway, I've scratched it up. You can see right there, so it's scratched up, you know, both sides. And then I've done my fittings, same thing. I've scratched it up in there. See that? Okay. Okay, so I got that done now. Just go over kind of the stuff that we use. Here's the, you know, the soldering stuff you want to use for the job, and then here's the flux. Important, you know, make sure you get flux. Because if you don't get the flux, you mistake it for something else, then it's not going to work. And the important thing about the flux is that what it does is it sucks in solder inside. It sucks it in, so it's so important to have that. So this flux, you're going to put it in here and also there, so both sides. And that will, when you start heating it up with the torch here, that's going to bring in solder inside the joint, inside in there, and that's how you're going to seal it well. So let's go and get started here. All right, so we got the water off here. I'm going to cut this guy out. See how it works. Make sure that's gonna fit right. Okay, looks good. I'm kind of mark the parts right now. Put that in there. Alright, I'm gonna, so you can use a measuring tape depending on the situation. Right here I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it, about whereabouts it's gonna go. It's about right there. That's where I need to cut this pipe right here. Alright, the cutter.
Right up here.
You don't want to make this too tight when you're turning this, because then you won't be able to, this tightens up the pipe cutter. So you want to be just kind of a little snug there. It's enough so you can go around. And then you're actually tightening it up more as it's cutting into the pipe. There we go, see? And just always want to be careful with how you're handling the pipes. You don't want it to bend any of the pipe. Then you got to cut it off, or if you're down to the wire on the pipe, then you're then you gotta get some more. Just kind of put it all in place. You're marking it, see how you're making sure that the parts are all going to be long enough and it's all going to fit in there. So okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this one here. I'm actually going to put this guy in here. That's just going to go in the bottom, and then this is what's going to tie into the PVC. So this is threaded by slip 90, 3/4 inch 90. So okay, so I'm going to do this down to the bottom of the trench, and I know kind of see like where it's going to be, like right here. It's about right there. Okay, that's where I'm going to cut it. Okay, so all right, so that's about like how it's going to be right here. Any position, but what I like to do is I like to solder like the parts that are going down like this, like when you put the solder, it'd have to go up. So what I like to do is I like to solder this part first, and then put this, solder this first, the bottom parts like this. It's best to try to get the parts to where, you're able to come in and solder like this in this angle, and then come back and put it like that and just continue this part. So see what I'm saying? We put this in a angle like this, get this done first, and then come back and put this on here and then solder like that. See, it's just, and it's preferable to me, and you can kind of look at it a little bit more, see how the solders goes in. I can actually see the solder inside the pipe when I want to inspect and make sure it's all good. Also, there's another little trick I'll show you that I do to make sure it's, it's going to be tight. It's not going to leak. So let's go ahead and get that soldered. All right, so okay, so what we need to do here is I found this little piece of concrete. I mean, you can use anything that's not going to be able to melt. And that brings you up from where you're working at. This is already sanded here, so we're going to go ahead and put the flux on both of these ends actually. Okay, and I've got my rubber gloves so I can actually stick my fingers there in this flux. Not that I've ever done it without the gloves, but you know, just keep it clean. They come with a brush too, so you can do it with a brush. When you buy the flux, it comes with a, or actually, I'm sorry, you gotta, it usually comes with the brush, but sometimes you gotta buy it separate. So we get that in there like that. You gotta be careful because this gets hot. Yeah, I would do it really quick when I do it like that. All right, let me go. Let's get this started here. Okay. Kind of test it out, see how it's going. So, and into the pipe. That's why it's really important to have the flux in there. Let it cool down a little bit. If you're just beginning, you know, it's probably better to have like a vise, you know, but when you tighten it down, just don't tighten it too tight. Just a little snug to hold the pipe, because, you know, you don't want to bend anything. Like I said, you don't want to bend the pipe, then it's, you know, then it's hard to get the fittings on. You have to cut it off, or you have to get a new one. Just cool down a little bit. I don't put water on it right away to cool it down, because you can put, you know, I can put water on it. It's really hot, but I let it cool off just a little bit, and then I'll put water on it to cool it down more rapidly. Once you get the water on it, it cools down. That's it. It's done. It's cooled off. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little water on it. I'll do this at first. Okay, to the point where I can handle it. See, now I can handle it, and I'll just stick it in the water, in a bucket of water, and I'll cool it down right away. Yeah. So metal can heat up right away, and it can cool down real fast. So it's already cooled down, so it's pretty much there. And then just go back and inspect it. You can look inside too. You can kind of see the solder coming up, which did. And then, okay, so then here's the little thingy that I do when I want to really test. So I do a visual, make sure it's all looking good. And then what I'll do is I'll get the pipe right like this, hold it tight. Okay, it's good. I can't, you know, between my hand and closing it off like this, it's tight. It's not gonna, it's no air flowing out of anywhere. Okay, so that's all good there. I'm gonna do this one right now. Get that one first. Now I'm gonna do this one here. Okay, a little water coming out of here, but it's might have to shut the house. This is the water for the irrigation. It's coming down a little bit. Let me see if I can get it, open it up a little bit. Maybe there might be some debris stuck in there. Right. Oh, this stuff's coming out. Right. Right, you can see it now, right?
Yeah.
Alright, so pull it down a little bit. Handle it. Alright, it's all cool. So what I wanted to point out is that you don't want to put too much solder, especially when you're doing like a female adapter like this, because if you put too much solder in here, then it starts creeping into the threads and you can't thread it. So you just got to be really watch that so that doesn't happen. So anyway, it looks all good. I can see the solder inside there. Again, when you want to test it out, you do a visual. It looks good. And what you do is you put your hand like that. Below, it's all good. It's all sealed up, so you're good there. All right, so we got this. We got this taped up here. This part in here. So we just got to remember that we're going to be going this way, and this is going to have to be turned that way, and it's all going to have to be tightened up. So grab this channel locks here. Get this tightened up here. That looks good there. Tough one right here.
Look at this part in there.
Oh, so you want to strip it.
Okay, it's good. Looks good up here. Good down there. I think, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down here and tighten it this way. I'm trying to get this angle here. Finally. Now let's go inside this.